it is just over and over and over again. I never would have imagined, thank you, DJ, that we ever would have found ourselves in this position. Yet, here we are. And again, they don't care. I mean, yeah, they just don't care. All
I
right.
don't, I don't have any desire for an electric car.
I don't either. And especially, I have no, first of all, if and I don't think there's going to be an emp attack or anything like that. But if there is, that helping you? I'll let you do whatever you need to do. A lot of times just jiggling that thing. Um, I don't either, but from everything I hear, if we were to have an emp attack, and I don't think we're going to, but that's all it would take. The whole power grid is down, and then everybody's walking. I I think there are probably people out there who have a 1952 Dodge pickup that runs, doesn't have a whole hell of a lot other than that.
Yeah.
It runs, and if the peanut butter hits the fan, they've got something they can drive around in. And the rest of us, if it's all electric, we're sitting at home going, huh, well, I hope the North Koreans give us back our power pretty soon.
Right. It's, I mean, I think after we just drove out to 29 Palms and came back, we took kind of a scenic tour through Durango. We went to, what is the name of that? The Monument Valley. We actually didn't drive all the way through because it was, I didn't want to be on a dirt road because there's just, you drive out there for miles and miles and miles, and there's nothing but desert, and
Nothing.
there's no gas stations. And the one gas station we did find between there and 29 Palms, they were charging like over $7 a gallon.
Oh my God. A friend of mine travels all over the nation. He does home inspections. In fact, I want to hook him up with you sometime because he's really, really good.
Yeah.
And I told him, you need to get off of roofs and quit doing these inspections for insurance companies and, start being an independent contractor or whatever. But he sent me a photograph of some gas pumps that had like 446 per gallon. Hang on one second.
It was like 7.20 a gallon. It was the only place for miles.
All right.
And we went through a whole bunch of areas that had no cell coverage, a whole bunch. So it's like, it's kind of scary.
I wish I could say this is never going to happen. You and I and everybody else is worrying about something and it's just never going to be an issue. But Barb, I think it's going to be an issue. I think it's only going to be a question of time, especially when you have a buffoon like Joe Biden. If you and I are and DJ are foreign countries, why in the world wouldn't we take advantage of it right now? Because we have no idea who the next person is going to be. It might be Trump for all we know. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't we take advantage of it right now when we know that they've got an idiot in power? And yeah, I get it. I know Obama or whoever is, behind the scenes, but I don't know. I think I've
Yeah.
been telling you that I've been making backpacks for friends of mine, and each backpack has a handgun and ammunition and a flashlight and a bunch of emergency flares and all of this. It's not going to get you through, at best, it'll get you through one night and one day, but it's better than nothing. And
Yeah.
you,
I've got my backpacks built. They're already in the
right?
car.
And I used to think we would never use them. Now I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let me move this screen. I know I need to get my clock up here.
I think there's a lot of people. I can say I don't think I've ever been this busy in my career, and it seems to have picked up like in the last month or so. It's like
Right.
people are like, okay, I'm going to sell now, even though I don't need to sell now, because they're worried about what the future brings.
Whoa, I had not thought about that because I've talked with a lot of people who have said, the same thing that, they don't know what the future is bringing, but they're making a move now. Some of them are buying, but most of them are selling. And they're like, I know what I have now. I don't know what I'm going to have in 6 months or a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's just no certainty in life. All right, I am ready to go if you are, Barbara.
Oh, one more thing. I
Yep.
forgot. Hang on, I got to bring up my little clock.
I'm trying yet another new way of timing this so I don't screw up. I'll probably screw that up too.
Okay. Ready.
Sounds good. And I just had to take that last sip of Red Bull to put more gravel and more just stickiness in my voice. All right. Excuse me. Here we go on 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's real estate authority, that is Barb Schlinker. Barb's a retired Navy veteran. Barb Schlinker is an author. Barb is also a pilot, and Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday, and if you can't listen to the entire show, that's not a problem. It's always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or just go ahead and search Barb on most of the popular podcast platforms, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all of the rest. Every week, Your Real Estate Voice covers great information about the housing market and one of the largest assets people have, your home. Barb, what are we going to be talking about today?
Well, Richard, I'm excited about what we're covering today because the market definitely is shifting, but the numbers aren't exactly shaking out like I thought it would. Like, as an example, the days on market went up and the prices went up too. So it's very strange what's going on in the market right now. But what we can definitely see from the listings that we have on the market and the volume of buyers that are coming through is the volume of buyers is way down. So the very first segment we're going to talk about is how to sell a home with fewer buyers in the market. And then, of course, how to get the home ready for sale. And then we're going to talk about contract provisions that actually protect buyers and sellers when they're in contract on a home. Because sometimes buyers need to pull out of a contract, so the sellers need to know that. There's all kinds of provisions that we're going to cover in that segment. And the very last segment, we're going to talk about the 6 big reasons to sell your home with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And always, I love talking about our hot new listings. Richard?
Barb, with the rates being as high as they are, there are just fewer buyers that can afford a home. So how do you sell a home when there are fewer buyers to choose from?
Well, I think the key is that you have to make sure you prepare for it and plan for it. The Fed keeps saying they're going to continue raising rates, which absolutely affects demand for homes because most buyers are getting a loan and most buyers need to get a mortgage. And if the payment is too high, it takes them out of being able to purchase. Right now, I just checked this morning, the average 30-year fixed is about 7.3%. It's a pretty good rate. I mean, looking back in my adult life, it's not horrible. But a lot of the buyer population has never seen rates above 5 in their lifetimes. 43% of the buyers are either millennials, Gen Xers, or the new one, whatever the new one is, Generation Z. So, but we're still seeing low inventory. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Many of the people that have a home that maybe want to upgrade their home, get a different size home or a different floor plan home, are in a situation where they have really, really low interest rates. So when they make that change and buy a new home, they're going to have to put a huge down payment to offset that much higher interest rate right now. And so the new stats came out for the Pikes Peak region, and I was quite surprised that the average sales price went up again. Actually, the average price is just within a few $1,000s of what it was at the peak last year of August 22. So if you look at the whole picture, August of 2022, the Fed started raising rates. We went from 3% and zoomed right up to 7%. It was the fastest increase ever in our history. And in the Pikes Peak region, it caused prices to drop overall about 11%. And then it waggled, and then it gradually started going up, and then it's waggling some more. So it really depends on how you present your home to the market. The other thing too is if they raise rates again, it's really going to have an impact on the availability of buyers out there and the ones that can afford homes. But the reason why the prices haven't ultimately just crashed is because of just pure demographics. There's more buyers that need homes right now than what's being put out on the market. So that low inventory is a key factor that are keeping the prices relatively the same. So if you're worried about, oh my gosh, I should have sold my home early last year when the market was booming, don't worry, you haven't missed a whole lot. It's only changed maybe 1 percentage point since then. It's going to be fine. But you have to make sure you hire the team that knows exactly how to get those 3 P's right: preparation, pricing, and promotion. So don't worry too much. It's okay. But the high mortgage rates absolutely do affect the affordability for most buyers. And people that don't have to sell, they're probably not going to sell right now. It's only the motivated sellers that are really going to make a difference. We could see some seasonal corrections too. Typically in the summertime, that's usually boom time for most of the sales, and it might drop off in the fall. But a lot of people also worry about that. Did I miss a selling season? Don't worry. We sell homes year round. In fact, last year, December was my second busiest month of the year. So don't panic. It's okay. Put your home on the market when you're ready to put your home on the market. But keep an eye on those interest rates, because that does impact the buyer's ability to purchase a home. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyer's team. I've been here in this market for 27 years. So I've had a lot of experiences that I'm happy to share with you. And hopefully that'll make your real estate experience much better. And when we come back, what we're going to talk about is some great steps to prepare your home for sale when you're dealing with a buyer pool of fewer buyers there in the market. And if you are thinking of making a move, please give us a call. Our number is 719-301-3900, or you can go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Right now, we have well over 27,450 buyers that are registered just on my little website looking for homes. Plus, we have 64 high net worth cash investors. And, we can typically match a buyer to your home very quickly. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, we're discussing the Fed's recent increase on the Fed borrowing rate and whether or not it has an effect on the housing market. What should home sellers expect and do in a market situation just like this one?
Well, here's the thing is that what we have seen as compared to the boom, which I don't know that we'll ever see a boom market again like we did from the end of 2020 all the way through April of 2022. That was kind of an anomaly. It was tough for buyers because most of them had to compete. Most of them had to make offers way over asking price. and have excess cash and all that. And it was tough as a buyer. It was a really good time as a seller because you get multiple offers and you just get to pick and choose the best buyer. And it was great. Now it's happening less often that sellers are getting bidding wars on their home. Actually, it's pretty infrequent. All the stars have to align to make that happen. But because the rates have gone up, it's all about affordability for the buyer. So if they can't afford it, obviously they're not going to make an offer. So we've seen probably a reduction in the buyer pool of a good probably 20% overall. So to get yourself ready to make the most money when you're selling your home in a market, there's a lot of things that you have to think about. First of all, you have to make sure you prepare your home for sale. Now, not everybody wants to go on the market, you know, completely remodeled or anything like that. It's okay. Don't worry about that. We'll work with it as it is and try to make the best out of what we have for sure. But what we are finding with the inventory still low, it is also very helpful to make sure that you price your home appropriately out of the starting gate. We're probably seeing about 30 to 40% of home sellers, they're looking back on similar sales from just a few months ago. And even I have made this mistake recently. I'm like, okay, well, that home is similar size and it's sold for this much, and yours is in better condition. It must sell for that much now. And so if we go on the market at that price without making it uber realistic, it might end up with crickets, which I've seen that happen before, where it seems like it's priced appropriately, but if nobody's coming out to look at it, or if you're getting very few showings and no offers, you miss the mark on the price. You gotta reconvene and get it right. Typically, you want to make sure you have your home priced appropriately within 30 days. The people that lose money are the ones that go on the market and just wait and wait and wait in order to get their price. And it might take a long time, you know, or it may not sell at all. And you don't want to be in that situation. Bidding wars are rare right now. You can expect longer days on market. So preparation absolutely is critical. And that's part of what my team does, is help you prepare your home for sale. Probably a majority of people that I meet with either have not ever sold before or don't sell a home very often. And the market drastically changed between before we had really high quality imagery to what we had 15, 20 years ago. So the normal process for a buyer is that they look at homes online. They're eliminating a majority of them before they even reach out to a real estate agent. And I know I just did this in another market. We're buying a home for our son. So I got to play buyer, and it was really good to be on that side of the equation and have the experience. But we didn't even reach out to an agent until we had eliminated maybe all but 2 homes. And then pricing it right. If it's not priced right, if they're finding better deals, they're not going to come and see it. Fewer buyers want homes that need work, because fewer buyers qualify for a mortgage right now, and most of them don't have the excess cash in order to come up with money to make repairs. If you're presenting a home that needs repairs, it better be priced really aggressively, or the buyers won't even raise their hand for it. And typically, 88% of those homes are eliminated online based on the imagery that they see online. That's way different than what it was years ago, where you get with a real estate agent, they'd pull out that white MLS phone book and the agent knew all the inventory. Now it's not the case. In fact, I just talked to my partner last night, and he put a client under contract, and he had been showing them homes, but they popped in on an open house, which he didn't show them that one, and they ended up buying that one, which is great. So he took care of them. But you need to hire an agent that really needs to know how to market appropriately. You would not believe how many times I see really ugly, bad pictures of homes that are just absolutely unnecessary. I was looking at one the other day, Richard, where not only was there a lot of clutter in the home overall, but then they had this one image of a bedroom where it looked like they just crawled out of bed. The covers were torn down. There was a carpet cleaner right there, and there was a mess in the room. I'm like, That is marketing? No. This home is going to get rejected by buyers when you present your home that way. And home sellers need to know that. They can't let their agents be lazy and take happy snaps with their phones. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Whether it's clutter, curb appeal, drone footage, Barb is the real deal. You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She's the host of the program. And if you're thinking of making a move, just call Barb at 719-301-3900. You'll avoid all of those mistakes, or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about more detail on how to get your home ready for sale. Stay tuned for that.
I don't know what happened. I was like, I looked down, I'm like, oh, I got lots of time. Then I look down again and go, oh my God, I better wrap it up.
And I'm looking at David because I had no clue. I keep changing where I put the clock. So I tried putting the clock so that it was right in front of me so that I couldn't miss it. And when I did that, I forgot to restart the clock. So I was flying blind on that one. We could have been at like 18 minutes for all I know. We could have been at right on time for all I know. All right, let me get segment 2. Oh. Well, I'm glad everything went well with you. You know, as I'm getting ready here, you know what would not be a bad idea? And this is just me coming from a non-real estate perspective. But man, if you did a segment that just said, I'm taking off my real estate hat completely. It's my husband and I and my son looking for a place to buy. And this is what you go through. And some of these things I expected, some of these things I didn't expect, but I can tell you what, if I didn't expect it, I now know what to tell you in terms of how you handle it, except you probably already know how to handle pretty much everything you dealt with out there. But just the first person perspective might be interesting.
Yeah, I'll fold in some pieces of that story. It's in California, so California's
Oh,
way
that's right. Yeah. That's right.
but still, overall, the experience was pretty much what I thought. These buyers won't reach out to an agent until they find something they like, you know.
It is amazing how, I'm sorry, I'm trying to do something here. It is amazing how, even though you go from one state to another and the economies may be different and all of that, how similar in a lot of regards it ends up being. Okay, segment 2. Hang on one second, because I don't have an intro thing here. So Barb, normally when I go to
I'm sorry, I goofed that.
No, that's okay. I'll just ad lib it as we go to that. It'll be fine. Let me reset my clock and I'll start it right here.
I knew there was something missing from that.
Oh, it's my brain that's missing normally. All right, I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. It does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and we call it Your Real Estate Voice because Barb represents you. It's a fiduciary relationship. She wants to make sure that she takes care of all of your needs, your desires, and makes sure that you walk away from this experience very, very happy. Barb, let's talk about picking a selling strategy. There are so many of them out there. You've seen them come and go through the years. Walk us through it.
Well, I tell you, Richard, every home is different, and every seller's basically motivation is different about how they want to approach the sale of the home. And that's okay. We're used to working with that. So don't worry about it. There isn't a round hole for a square box, or did I say that right? Round peg in a square hole, whatever.
Close.
You'll have to just cut that, DJ. There isn't a exact way to do this for every single home, because every single home is different. Every single seller is different. And we'll get into the detail about what is that strategy, and we know how to prepare for any of them. So it's really important to pick a selling strategy first. Some people want to sell as is. Some people want their home just perfect, and either one is fine. And there's a different price for many of those. And so what we help you do is prepare your home for sale. We'll help you decide on what's a good price for the home. And then we get to work on promoting it so you get what you want. Now, you got to be very careful about selecting a real estate agent, because I ask sellers all the time. I'm like, okay, have you ever seen any bad pictures of homes online? And without fail, they all say a whole bunch. We cannot believe people put these pictures up online for their homes. And normally the response from the consumer is, if they see a bad picture of a home, they eliminate the home, even though they're not buying the stuff. Is the perception of, if they can't pick up for photos, professional photos or cell phone photos on the lazy agent side, then how is it going to look when I get there? And I can tell you from just having firsthand experience in California of looking around for homes, in those cases, many times the photos were way nicer than what we actually saw when we drove by and put eyes on it. Like, we went by on one that looked really, really cute. The price was right. And we get there, and it was like this house that was down inside a bowl, like all the water flowed towards the house. I'm like, oh, I see Danger Will Robinson problems with that home. And then there were others that looked really good online, and you get there and it looks poorly cared for. The paint is fading. The neighbor's furniture is out on the front sidewalk next door. I'm like, I don't think this is going to work. So it started off with us looking for a rental for our son, and it was so expensive. We're like, you know what? Maybe we should just try to find a nice one and buy it. So that's what we're doing. So what you need to know as far as picking an agent is you want, a lot of people don't have to interview anybody to do anything. They might pick contractors for their house or something, but this is going to be a nice relationship that's going to last 3 to 5 months, right? So you want to have somebody that has your back. You want to have somebody that knows how to help you solve the problem of this big project of selling a home from start to finish. And so part of what we do is we actually give our clients information on how to interview agents. You can go up on my website, barbhasthebuyers.com, and there's all kinds of free reports. If you click on the free report button, we have 2 or 3 different reports about how to interview agents. So you make the right decision about who the agent is the best fit for you. There is really no predetermined way, but there are certain questions that you need to ask to make yourself feel comfortable. And unfortunately, most people make selections of who their agent's going to be just because they're nice people or whatever. But if that nice person is doing something to make your house look bad online, you've got a problem, because they're causing demand destruction. It's all about the initial presentation online, just to motivate the buyers to leave their fuzzy bunny slippers and get in their car and drive by the house. So that's step 2. If you can get them to step 2, that's good. And then the house has to impress them with good curb appeal at that point before the buyer is even going to make a request to come in and see the home. So there's a lot of factors, and we guide our clients on how to do that. And we've got great reports on our website, barbhasthebuyers.com, about how to pick an agent so you have somebody that's a right fit for you. And there are different selling strategies. So there's some people that just don't want to deal with the public coming through their house, and there's nothing wrong with that. We actually have 64 high net worth cash buyers that are will make an offer on your home. Now, it's not full market value, and they do charge a fee, very much like a commission. However, it absolutely is the easy button. You don't have to make your house ready for sale. You don't have to do any repairs. You can just get your offers, multiple offers, and pick which one it is and go from there. Some people choose to sell their home empty, and that's okay too. We have a marketing strategy for that. Some people sell their homes while they live in it because they need to live in it until they get their proceeds and move on to their next house. Nothing wrong with that, but we have to help you. It's a little bit harder project because most people don't live in the home the same way you would present it to the market. In fact, the feedback I get all the time after we're done with the staging consults and the recommendations, they'll say, it feels like nobody lives here. I'm like, yeah, it does kind of look very sparse. There's no clutter. There's not as many family pictures. There's not a lot of stuff laying around, because in pictures, even a little bit of stuff is kind of amplified online. And then some people have a house that needs a lot of work, and that's okay too, right? It's just that there is a price for that. Let me tell you a story. I had a home a few years back that really needed a lot of work. It was basically 40 years of deferred maintenance, and the former owners were heavy smokers. So the smoke smell was overwhelming. And we put this home on the market right when COVID was breaking out, and it was an inherited home, and the family inheriting it, we discussed different pricing strategies and different selling strategies. I said, you can fix it up yourself. But after we did the pre-inspection, we decided, for them, it was just too much to take on. So we priced it very low, below market value. And we priced it at the time at $179 when I thought it might sell as is for $230. And of course, we got a lot of showings, but we couldn't get the agents to behave. They were leaving doors unlocked. They were leaving lights on. Finally, I had a total meltdown when some agent took the key out of the lockbox, locked it inside the garage, in the door, and locked the house so nobody else could get in. Wouldn't that make you mad, Richard?
I guess it's a good strategy if you want to be the only person who's trying to buy or sell a home, but I would be fit to be tied. You have no idea how many showings you miss when somebody does that.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, that's it. We're not going to play their game anymore. So I broke it up in 3 1-hour open houses. And I said, you guys come and look at it during this hour while we're watching you, so we know the house will be secured. And we ended up with 45 offers on that home, and it sold for about 70,000 over asking price for cash. So it worked out good. And there were some agents that were kind of flopping on the floor about, well, what about COVID? I have to be in there with other people. I'm like, then just don't come. I'm very sorry. It was like, it is what it is, but we still got a good buyer for it. So there's different strategies for different situations. But one of the tips for getting ready, make sure you have it as clean as you can get it. Curb appeal is critical. Clean up the yard. I was showing a house just a couple days ago where the yard was overgrown with those juniper plants. Do you know what those are, Richard?
Yeah, they do not work when they're overgrown.
No, and they're kind of smelly.
Yep.
And the pictures made it look fabulous, but when we got there, we could see it had structural problems. There was overgrown foliage. The buyer's like, no, we weren't even in there very long. One house we went in, there were windows intentionally left open, and the buyer's automatic assumption was, this was on a cold day and a rainy day. She goes, they must be covering some smell up. Yeah. So that's another thing you can't do, is you can't load up candles to overwhelm some dog smell or something. It's just not going to work. Make sure your bathrooms are clean, your kitchen and your appliances are clean, that you pick up most of your area rugs off the bathroom floor, the kitchen floor, because they don't photograph very well. And it actually makes the room look bigger. But if it's too big, don't worry too much about it. Door hardware needs to be clean, and there's lots more. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I've been doing this since 1996. I have lots of stories to tell. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She is your real estate voice, and she is the proprietor and the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can listen to replays of the show anytime on all of the major podcast platforms and on YouTube as well. You go to barbhasthebuyers.com. You'll find the information there. And we're talking about the top 15 tips to sell your home for top dollar. Barb, give us some more of those tips.
Well, one tip when you're showing is open the blinds and the curtains. You want to let as much light in as possible. Use lighter colored bedding, you know, those pretty homemade quilts and the ones with a lot of design on it, they don't photograph well. Make sure you remove excess furniture. Consider staging your home. According to the National Association of Realtors, home sellers net anywhere from $3,000 to $15,000 more on a home that's staged. Well, a lot of people don't know what staged means. Stage could just be working with your stuff to declutter and position the furniture so the buyers can visualize themselves living in that home, okay? Or it could be us, we do digital staging and we do in-person staging. So not every agent does this, but we do it because if we just take pictures of empty rooms, the buyers go, they can't, there is a certain segment of the population that if they look at an empty room, they don't know what it is or what to do with it or whether or not their furniture will fit. I'm one of those. I don't have that artistic brain. So that's why we do it. Also, unfortunately, most of the agents, 81% of them sell 3 or less homes a year. I hate to say that, but it's very true. I wish it was, you know, more evenly based, but it's not. And it's because they're just not trained on how to do this. The training in the industry is very, very weak. But when you're selling one of your largest assets, you want to pick an agent that really knows how to do this. It has lots of experience doing this. And make sure you price it right. We talked about that. Make sure you evaluate the marketing strategy. That's absolutely critical on how the home is going to be marketed. If you get an agent that says, oh, I'm just going to use my cell phone to take pictures, please run away, because they're not going to help you. Buyers eliminate homes based on the pictures. And these days, the imagery is so high quality. We know the elimination is taking place online. You can ask one of my clients, Josh and Amy. I just sold their Briargate home for $10,000 over asking price in just a few days, and we got it closed and done in 3 weeks. So if you're thinking of making a move, you want to make sure you hire the agent that has buyers. So there's a lot of people go to Zillow, a lot of people go to realtor.com. There's even a company out there that has what they call showing agents. These are agents that have a license that are paid to go open a door in the hopes that these buyers might say yes, and then they go and hand that buyer off to somebody else that actually has some expertise in selling homes. It's a crazy system. I can't say the company name, but it's really weird to me. The problem is there's such an effort on the home seller's part to get their home ready for sale. Their assumption is every buyer coming to their home is going to want a home like theirs, and every buyer is going to be pre-qualified, and that's definitely not the truth. So you want to make sure that you hire the agent that vets buyers. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program. And on Your Real Estate Voice, you're going to find out all of the information you need to know, whether you're buying or selling, about the biggest asset you have. For most people, it's their 401k and by far their home. And if you're thinking of buying or selling your home, you want to get the most amount of money out of it, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. A short break. When we come back, 6 big reasons to call your home sold guaranteed realty to sell your home. Stay tuned for that.
Actually,
that's not it.
It's contract provisions that protect buyers and sellers.
Okay. Give me a second. Three, two, one. In order to get in touch with Barb, just call 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about contract provisions that protect both buyers and sellers. Whichever you are, you want to stay tuned for that. All right.
Thank you. I'm going to pop out just for a second. I had a couple people pop in my office, which is unusual. Do you mind if I do that? Got a minute?
Another Red Bull.
Okay.
We're good.
Savannah, I was just thinking about you this morning. How are you?
Right? Tired. I got a question for you. Right.
We're gonna have to be on Monday after the inspection. Stay on Monday. Nobody gets in the door to the open house on Saturday. Fine, so probably all the buyers in there on site. Right.
There's still packing stuff up the best where so we got that. Really good. In fact, I even know the show too. There's just no time to move everything. Probably the rest of it. The upstairs room here. Because it's relatively new, so it's upstairs, the landing, the living room, all that. It's really nice. We wanted to, but we just don't see when we have the time. There's too much stuff that they do. And so we're trying to thin that up to make it.
Like you said, oh, I see, the clutter police.
So I called, it's other than that. He never really Friday.
Okay.
And, we're supposed to have everything as good as we can get it, but I need those days too.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I have to, downstairs, back to the living room.
Okay, April, did you, coordinate that with Wendy?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, we want to actually on Monday, we can, if we do, we have pictures of the inside pictures.
I think you can get all the inside pictures except for
I think it's difficult to clear it out.
yes. We might leave it there though, because we couldn't do it. Okay, so.
That area for our base. Very realistic. Differences of it. A demand structure. Well, so far, last month's prices went up. So it went down in July and up in August. So we're even before we were in April of 2022, it's close to 1%. So. So Stuff that you want. It's probably have time. We don't have to deal with the garage stuff before we go on the market. They just need to see how big the garage is. Right. So, but we can take care of that from the advance wants to. It's people that are on the.
The ones that that's fresh. Well, she's gonna do it. Oh, she. So I think. The picture, it's hard, really.
Yeah. You should be outside.
They did, I didn't see anybody come by and do it.
Yeah. Wait till it's.
My fault. Thank you. We've done a report Friday at 5, so I'm looking forward to having you come in. I won't get started with my spiel, but nice trip. Have you guys take care? I've got a landline only. It's dead on me. I had it 5 years ago. I tried to call an attorney in Denver, couldn't get one, so I just drove up. And I appreciate you.
Everything's all digital now, you know.
That's right. Plus the degree.
Yeah.
Glad I made it. Thank you.
I speak to.
Yeah.
No, that's right. I just want to get my nails done and my eyelashes done. That's all. Yes, it's next Friday. It's okay. Okay, thank you. Friday. Okay. Sorry, guys, we never have Popeyes.
Oh, I was just kidding. I said pop buys or pop eyes. I was trying to make a joke, but my jokes, and David would vouch for these, are not very funny anymore. They actually were never very funny, but.
Okay. Cooking with grease.
What's that?
It's funny, the people my age and older, they like doing things in person.
All right. I am about ready to go. Put my headphones on. Do you like the Beach Boys song Barbara Ann?
I've heard it a lot. That's my first and middle name. It's okay.
You know, it's okay. It's not my favorite song. I used to hate the Beach Boys. I thought they were old people's music. And then Netflix did a series on them. And holy cow, are they incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody, the Eagles and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, all of these bands say that the whole harmony deal that they've made their living on. I mean, the Eagles made their living on. They pretty much just swiped from the Beach Boys and modified it to the kind of music they were doing. All right, I got a new clock.
Okay.
I'm running way behind. Actually, I'm not running behind. David is running behind. He's got a 1 o'clock. So I'm going to crank.
Yeah, so do I. So we'll crank through these last
All
two.
right. Here we go. And I'll count this down. I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. And it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday. And if you can't, can you hear that?
I can hear my heater. Is that what you're talking about?
No, there's some people in the hallway that are.
They're all the way creeping down there.
Are they?
Making a bunch of noise.
Yeah.
That's the first
I
time
didn't hear them.
I've done that. But it's just.
It's pretty bad.
Oh,
We have people in the office that we normally don't because we had a meeting this morning.
oh,
And everybody feels like they have to be buddy right now. And
loud buddy. And I hate to be the guy who goes out and shushes people, but it's been going on ever since we started recording. And David says, as annoying and loud as I hear it, it's not going on to the recording. So I'm annoyed, but I'm okay with that. But that was, so we're just going to start from the beginning again, if that's okay. And I apologize for that, Barb. It's unprofessional, but it's not on my.
oh, I get it.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. And it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday, but if you can't listen to the entire show because you're only in the car for a while, it is always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or go ahead and search it on all of the popular podcast platforms like iHeartRadio, Spotify. Barb Schlinker, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You'll find it there. Barb, a real estate sale is a business and a legal. Barb, Barb, a real estate sale is a business and a legal transaction that must be in writing. I know the contracts can be very intimidating to some folks, especially if they're not in real estate or an attorney. What are some contract provisions that protect buyers and sellers? And can you explain them in layman's terms?
Well, yes, Richard. And here's the thing. Just to list your home for sale, that's a 20-page document. To accept an offer on your home, that's a 20-page document. Both of them are full of legalese, and both of them have a lot of meaning to what either party has going through the process. And in the state of Colorado, all licensed agents have to use the same state-provided forms that were written by lawyers. And the whole idea behind them is they're supposed to be understandable and logical to the public, not necessarily written in legalese. But I find there's a lot of agents out there that probably don't know what some of the provisions mean. And that's why it's absolutely critical that you hire an agent that really understands contracts, what the provisions mean, so you're protected going forward and you don't have any surprise added expenses. So when a seller accepts a contract on a home, this is a very buyer-friendly state. There's actually at least 8 different ways a buyer can back out of the contract and get their earnest money back. No harm, no foul. And sellers think that once they have a contract, it's a done deal. And actually, not necessarily. There's a process to go through. In fact, I had a Marine client recently, and as I was going over the contract with him, he looked at me and he goes, it seems like you don't really know you have a deal. It's like you're wrestling around in the mud until the end, and then you close. I said, yeah, it's kind of like that. So he didn't like it, which I don't blame him. So once a seller accepts a contract, they are packing, they're planning. It's a big project for most people to move if they haven't already moved out, while the buyers are doing what they call their due diligence, which is finding out all they can about the property to make sure that they don't make a bad investment. It's almost like an intent to buy contract. The buyers can back out if they don't like the terms of their loan. They can back out if their loan doesn't get approved. They can back out if they don't like title, if they don't like the survey, if they don't like the HOA, if they don't like the inspection, if they're not satisfied with the appraisal, or if they just change their mind. In pretty much all those cases, they can back out and get their earnest money back, no harm, no foul, unless you have an agent that knows how to protect you. Inspection is probably the most common thing that causes contracts to fail. There are actually 33 different systems in a home that come under scrutiny, and some are pretty unexpected by the sellers, like the sewer septic check, the brand of the electrical panel. So frustrating. There's probably about 30% of the homes in this market that have a Federal Pacific panel. So if you Google Federal Pacific on the internet, it will scare you to think your house is going to burn down, which in fact, most of them are probably pretty safe. They've been there for 50, 40 to 60 years. However, because they've had some problems where people overloaded circuits, they caught on fire, and now that whole brand has been condemned. So every time you go to sell a home, you can pretty much plan on having to replace that panel, which is a good $2,000 to $5,000 upgrade. Water test, roof, mold, all this kind of stuff comes under scrutiny. So even though the contract says the home is sold as is, where is, with all its faults, that's not really true. The buyer can still do the inspection. I've even had buyers put in their contract, hey, we're only going to ask for, we're going to accept the home as is. We're only going to ask for things that involve major health, safety, electrical, plumbing, which is pretty much most of it, right, Richard?
Basements, the yard, the neighborhood, satellites, moon phase.
It's crazy. And then if they ask for stuff, okay, after they do their inspection, theoretically, it's supposed to be to identify any system that's not functioning. Although many, many times the buyers will ask for upgrades. It's okay to say no. And that's what we help our clients make decisions on when we have buyers that try to break contracts. And, you know, contracts are different state to state. Places like Texas, the buyer has 10 days to do whatever due diligence they're going to do. And after that, their earnest money is non-refundable, no questions asked. So it's not the case in Colorado. Actually, there's 3 provisions in the contract about earnest money. And 2 of them override one of them in particular, which basically says that if the buyer and seller don't reach agreement about what happens to the earnest money in writing, then after 120 days, they give the earnest deposit back to the buyer. So that means it's 100% refundable, and they could walk away at the closing table. So unless you hire an agent that knows how to protect you from those kind of provisions, you could get into some issues with contracts. And I just yesterday went over a state purchase contract with one of my clients who is a lawyer. And I went very slow and tried to explain it in my layman terms, the way I understand it. And, you know, they don't do this every day. They don't work in that field necessarily on the legal side. So they really appreciate the information, and they want to know what's going on in the contract so they can track what's happening through the process. Another thing that can cause a deal to blow up is an appraisal. So if the buyer's getting a loan, an appraisal is required. And that's an outside licensed third party that comes in, evaluates the value of the home, and ensures that the home meets the loan guidelines. So a lot of people assume that there's a database of appraisals out there and everybody knows that that there was a previous appraisal that was different than the current appraisal. Actually, there is no database of appraisal. So don't worry about that. If you get a bad appraisal, you can always just get a new one. And we've had clients do that in some cases. But what we try to do is help you prepare so that that process is successful. That means that we prepare similar sales for the appraisal. We give them information about improvements that you've done to the home. We meet the appraisal. We schmooze the appraisal because we think they're kind of lonely and they like attention. So I'll show up there and I'll give them similar sales and I'll tell them all about the house and try to make friends. That way they're happy. And hopefully they'll give us a good appraisal. So some of the things, though, that they have to identify if a home does not meet the loan guidelines mostly applies to FHA and VA loans, but occasionally some of these things will affect conventional loans. So peeling paint on the outside, unsafe things like missing outlet covers, broken windows, any safety issues, trip hazards, fence falling, big deep window wells without covers. All those things really have to be handled so that the loan meets, all those things have to be handled so that the house meets the loan guidelines. What's not in the contract, though, is who has to fix it. A lot of people assume the seller has to fix it, but that's not really the case. It's the buyer getting the loan. You could say, no, it's your loan, you fix it. And you have to give them permission to come and do that if they want to do that. And one final thought is the walkthrough. So in the contract, the buyer is entitled to a walkthrough prior to closing. This is the time when I have seen what I call onboard terrorist real estate agents try to get more stuff at the very last minute, and they will hold up the closing if they don't get what they want. When you hate this, Richard, you're thinking you're going to closing, right? And some agents will go, I'm not closing unless I get. What do you think about that?
I hate it. As a former trial attorney, I understand that mentality. You've worked out something, you have an agreement, and then at the last minute, they want to nickel and dime you for a little bit more, and they tell their client, well, all they can do is say no.
Right, exactly. All they can do is say no. And so it's something that I have to protect my clients with throughout the entire process, because it's a surprise to me, but there are some agents that will intentionally try to blow up contracts. At least it seems that way. In fact, recently, over an inspection objection, this buyer said, oh, because it has this sub panel that would only handle the garage, that was made of, the brand was Federal Pacific, we want $1,000 or we're not going to close. And I called the agent. I said, really, this is almost a $600,000 sale. Your buyer's going to walk away over $1,000. And his answer was, no, but I had to ask for something. It's like, I just wanted to smack him. I'm like, oh my God, really?
Ask for a sunny day. How about that?
Yes, there you go. So my name is Barb Schlinker. I'm with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I'm the host of Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about contract provisions that protect both buyers and sellers. And when we come back, we're going to be discussing some protections that you can put in your contract to make sure you have a certainty of sale. Richard?
Barb, as a former trial attorney, it is a pleasure to deal with somebody as professional as you, who knows this inside and out, has seen it before, understands it's a fiduciary relationship, and looks out for your client the way you do. We're discussing the real estate contracts and those provisions that can be inserted into the contracts to protect both the buyers and the sellers. Barb knows both sides of that. We know that buyers have plenty of ways to get out of a contract. Barb, what are some contract provisions that help home sellers?
Well, there's 69% of the buyers out there have a house to sell. So if they make an offer contingent on their home selling, many times these offers come in and these buyers' homes are not even on the market yet. And it's like, well, you don't have a buyer yet. If your home is under contract, okay, that's a different story. I want to see the contract. But if it's not on the market, then we have provisions to protect you. Like, we don't want to show it under contract if we're waiting for some other buyer to sell their home. So we have ways to do that. And that's why it's very important that you want to hire an experienced agent. And then, of course, on the inspection issues, it's really best to get ahead of it. Most people don't inspect their home. I have one client right now that we did a pre-inspection and we didn't know there was a leak in the basement. And initially I couldn't tell what it was from. He thought it was groundwater, and the inspector discovered that we do a pre-inspection. He goes, no, that is the refrigerator in the kitchen above. The water line was leaking down into the basement for a long time. So it became this big drawn out process to fix it. However, at least we deal with it head on. If we put that home on the market with that existing problem, buyers would summarily reject it. So you have to get those things taken care of. And then also we know how to handle appraisals. We know how to handle earnest money, so you're protected. So if you are thinking of making a move and you'd like to talk to us about selling your home, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She is your real estate voice, or she should be. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. When we come back, we'll be talking about 6 big reasons to sell your home with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Plus, we'll talk about Barb's hot new listings. She's excited about them, and for good reason. Stay tuned.
Okay. We went a little long, DJ. Sorry.
Oh, that never happens.
Never happens.
Scissors hands. I've never seen the movie, but I've seen, Johnny Depp with all of the scissors. That's how he is when it comes to editing the show.
Scissors.
But he always keeps and I'm serious about this. It's amazing to me what I hear we record and then what I hear he's done with, because he trims all of this. And a lot of it is breathing on my part. He trims it and it doesn't lose the context at all. That's not easy to do.
Okay.
All right. Half an hour to get out of here in a half an hour. So I'm going to quit talking. I'm going to get ready to go. Let me set a new clock. And I've got to go back to the doctor. I'm so sick of doctors. Let's see here. I'd be a lot. I shouldn't say that. I am so delighted with doctors. I'd say I'm sick of doctors is not really the way that's supposed to be phrased. All right. I've got a clock. I've got a producer. He's okay. I've got talent, which is loaned from God, as Rush used to say. That's your talent, Barb. And I'm ready to go. Thumbs up from David. Yes. Barb, you ready to go? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker. She is your real estate voice and the host of the program, of course. She's the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And Barb, I've been telling our listeners for 9 years why home sellers should call you to sell their homes. So let's talk about the 6 big reasons why they should call you at 719-301-3900 when they're ready to sell their homes, and sometimes even before they're ready to, and sometimes even when they're just preparing to sell their homes.
Absolutely, Richard. I'm happy to talk about it. And the reason number 1 is we actually have some guarantees in place so that you have the certainty of sale. I just helped one couple sell their home. We guaranteed it. But the way it works is you get the higher offer. So if somebody comes in and offers you more money, you get the higher offer so you can move on to your next house. And many agents will promise to sell your home, but it doesn't always happen that way. So we want to make sure that you have that certainty that it's going to go through. And then we also offer it to anybody that's moving up to one of our listings. There's just a lot of opportunities where you can win with our guarantees. And some home sellers assume that every home will sell. And actually, that's not always the case. There's probably about 30% of them that are not selling, maybe a little bit more right now, because the rates have gone up. So you want to make sure that you put your house on the market, that it's prepared to get top dollar. And at many times, Richard, I see that people put their house on the market And they've got things that are so easy to fix: bad pictures, bad pricing, sticking with a bad price for too long. Those things are so easy, and the home sellers are in control if they knew what to do. Also, reason number 2 is we have buyers. We have over 27,450 buyers on our database of buyers in waiting that we market to directly, but we're trying to get everybody's buyers, not just our buyers, because we want you to have the most money. And typically I find just on my website, I have 100 buyers that are a good match for your home. We also have cash buyers. So it's a solution for people that don't want to deal with people coming through their house. They don't want to deal with preparing their home for sale. There's nothing wrong with that. Selling your home to a cash buyer actually does happen more often than you think. It's kind of a growing industry right now because people just want the easy button. So with our system, you actually get multiple cash offers and you get to pick from the best one that works for you. And typically we can get you that answer within a day, business day or 2 to get that done. And my name is Barb Schlinker. I'm with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I am the broker owner, and I'm also the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And what we're talking about right now basically is the 6 big reasons why you should consider calling us if you are thinking of making a move. And we're also going to talk about kind of some more detail about those reasons and why it's important to pick the right team to sell your home. With the cash offer program, it works really, really well because you don't have to deal with any repairs. You don't have to deal with getting your house to looking perfect before you put it up on the market. But that's just option 1. We have multiple options. So we could take pictures and video of your home, submit it there. We'll get offers back. If you don't like it, it's okay. We're going to market to our 27,000 buyers in waiting, or take it to the public and help you get top dollar there. Either way, the whole idea is to get you the best price that works for you in your time frame with the least amount of hassle. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900, or you can go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She's the host of the program. You can always reach her at 719-301-3900. And we're talking, Barb, about 6 big reasons to call you at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Let's talk more about how long it takes to sell a home. We've talked about the first 2 steps, which are what we would guarantee the sale of the home, and you have proof of those sales here. What are some of the other 4 reasons? Actually, I misphrased that. I made it sound like I was guaranteeing that. 3, 2, 1. We're talking, Barb, about the 6 big reasons to call you at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. That's Barb Schlinker, of course. She's the host of the program. And Barb, let's talk about how long it takes to sell a home. We've talked about the first 2 steps, which are the guarantee of the home sale and the proof of those sales as well. But let's talk about 4 other reasons that are so important.
Well, I can tell you, Richard, that most home sellers don't want to deal with having their home on the market for a long time, especially dealing with showing after showing and people kind of picking their house apart. And so you have to, it's a whole strategy to price your home right and prepare it right. Sometimes the pricing is fine, but the marketing is bad. Sometimes the pricing is just too high. So it really depends on the situation on the house. And, it's sad for me to say that 81% of the agents all up and down the Front Range only sell 3 or less homes a year. That's most of them. So I don't know if it's a hobby, but I really think the industry is not that great in teaching agents how to do the things that would help them grow their business and get more expertise. They're terrible at teaching agents marketing. They're terrible at teaching agents how to handle objections. They're terrible at teaching agents how to negotiate or how to provide great customer service or how to closing skills. In fact, just a few weeks ago, I had a seller tell me somebody was showing his home. He's got cameras on the outside of the home. And, if you're in a home, you can pretty much expect that just about every single home on the market is going to have some kind of camera activity going on, right? But these agents, they don't think about it and they start blabbing their mouth and trying to be a fiduciary to the buyer. So this one agent was on the back deck of this home, which it wasn't perfect. It was a wood deck, but it was in decent shape. And he's telling his buyer, oh, this home won't be approved for VA. There's no way you can buy this home. And he's like, what is this guy talking about? So my seller heard that on the video. I'm like, I don't know. I think he's trying to position himself as an expert is the only thing I can guess. But you would not believe how many times we hear that going on where agents are talking smack about the home in front of the buyer and the seller catches it on video. Wouldn't you hate that, Richard?
I think that is one lesson I've learned, not just about real estate, but about my entire life, Barb. And that is, if you are anywhere close to a person's home, you have to assume that they are not just watching, but especially listening to every word you say before you ring the doorbell, afterwards, while you're just standing there. And in real estate, that can be a really big issue.
Yeah, there was an agent recently, it was in the news in California, that was supposedly at this house waiting for a buyer to show up, and they had cameras inside. He went into the home. He was the listing agent and went into the refrigerator and started grabbing food and drinking milk right out of the carton.
Out of the carton.
He got fired, unfortunately, but that wasn't very smart. Okay, so we sell homes faster. The average days on market has risen just a little bit. We sell homes typically 3 times faster than most agents, and they're more likely to sell. That's a big thing too. Sometimes we get more money on homes. Sometimes we get a little bit less. It really depends on where the seller decides to price the home. But generally, if they follow our advice and price it realistically, we know what to do on the marketing side. We're going to get them top dollar for sure. And with us, your home is 60% more likely to sell. And the other thing is we really want you satisfied. So in this preparation piece, we do what we call a certified pre-owned home program. And the reason for that is we don't want you to have to deal with surprises and landmines after you've already accepted a contract and you think you're moving, and then you have to step back for a second because, oh, the buyer wants a new sewer line, or they want a new furnace, or they want fries with that too. Just last week, I actually had one HVAC contractor that said this furnace is shot and the heat exchanger has rust on it. And I'm like, okay, I want to double check that because it's a relatively new furnace. They had just put in air conditioning. And so we sent out another HVAC contractor that we trusted. And he goes, we have to wait a couple days because the last contractor turned the air conditioning down to 60 degrees and froze the AC line. So we waited a couple days. They went back and checked it out. And this is somebody I've been working with for years that I completely trust. He says, the furnace is fine. I cleaned and serviced it. Everything's great. So you want somebody that has your back in the inspection process as well, if something like that comes up. And, get some bids when you want time to get some bids in case something does come up. So some of our guarantees that we offer are the cancellation guarantee, the timely response guarantee, communication guarantee, realistic price range guarantee, realistic timeline guarantee, honest promises with our track record guarantee, and then of course, cancellation guarantee. So if you're interested in giving us a call and you're thinking of making a move in the next 3 to 6 months, or even if it's in the future, let us take pictures of your home while the yard looks green and beautiful, and we'll save them for when you are ready. Call us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
After all of those guarantees, folks, don't be surprised that the name is Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. That's Barb Schlinker. Check out the website, barbhasthebuyers.com. Favorite part of the show, Barb, for you. Exciting for me, too, because up and down the Front Range, you have got all kinds of hot new listings. Tell us about them.
Oh, we have an adorable starter home up in Woodland Park on Full View Street. It's so cute. It's got a great backyard with views at $389,900. We've got a beautiful rancher. The whole main level is hickory wood flooring. It's and granite counters, priced in the mid-5s. A great home down in Pueblo West in the upper 3s. We have a fabulous ranch on 60 acres out in Yoder, priced at $525, with two great buildings, as well as a wonderful barn. Really, really nice kind of hobby farm in the low fives. Fabulous home on 2.5 acres on Rock Creek Mesa. We have 2 homes in one on Bijou Street downtown. This is actually a great investment property in the upper fives. We also have a great home in the northwest part of town on Native Circle in the low fives. A spectacular Victorian on Rocky Heights in D20, priced at $870, and an absolutely eye-watering, unbelievable home in Florissant at $2.5 million on 35 acres. Very energy efficient, spectacular home, and that one's priced at $2.5 million. Plus, I have 2 fabulous deals coming up. Be watching barbhasthebuyers.com. I have a handyman special on Jetwing, priced under $250,000. That home is over 1,800 square feet, and a spectacular patio home close to the Air Force Academy, priced in the mid fives. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker. She is your voice. She's the host of the program as well. You can listen to replays of the program on Spotify, YouTube, as well as all of the other popular podcast and video platforms. Give her a call at 719-301-3900. And remember, the replays are on Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Schlinker, or as I said, you can check the podcast in case you didn't hear the entire program. Thank you for listening this week. To reach out to Barb, simply call her at 719-301-3900. It's a beautiful fall season, a great time to be listening. Thank you for listening. Barb, have a great week.
Thank you. You have a great week too.
Let me do that again. I meant to say listing, and it sounded like halfway between listening and listening.
And call the YouTube channel Barb Has the Buyers.
Barb Has the Buyers. Okay. Why don't I just do that whole thing again? I get improvising sometimes a little bit too much. So we'll go back to that again. 3, 2, 1. You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. You can see replays of the show on Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Has the Buyers. And remember, podcasts, whether it's Apple, iHeartRadio, I use Spotify. It's on all of them. Thank you for listening. It is a great time of year to be listing and to be outside to make a good move on your home. Call Barb at 719-301-3900. Barb, thanks for joining us. To all the listeners, thank you for joining us. Have a great week.
Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend.
You know, should I leave it as week or weekend?
Oh, no, it's fine. It's okay.
Okay. Because I always kind of think, actually that works out well. You're saying have a great weekend, and I'm carrying people over to the next week. So between the two of us, I think we've got it covered. You've got a 1 o'clock. David's got a 1 o'clock.
We got a promo to write.
We got a promo, and that's what I was just looking for here.
So,
I think that I
Give you a lark.
was going to say, don't think that I forgot that. Oh, more paperwork I have to do. Oh, here we are. Okay, Barbara, what would you like to get to? How to sell your home with how to sell a house with fewer buyers on the market, how to get your home ready for sale, contract provisions that protect buyers and sellers, 6 big reasons to call your home sold guaranteed Realty.
I think how to get your home ready for sale.
Okay. Let me get my other script here. If my daughter saw all the paper here, she would turn me into the Echo Police and say, Dad, you promised you were going to quit cutting down, clear cutting forest for your daughter's sake. And it appears that you're still doing that. Is that a redwood or a sequoia you're reading from?
Aw.
I love my daughter though. All right.
At least she cares. That's good.
You know what? I'm looking for a piece of paper. I'm not trying to waste time. Isn't it amazing? Did you ever realize when you and Mark had your son, did you ever imagine that it would be such a wonderful part of your life?
I
think
guess
women do. Guys, I'm not so sure.
Instinctually, I think I did, but
Yeah.
not until I found out I was pregnant. That was
Yeah.
when my reaction was just automatic. Oh my God. I was so excited. So
One final thing, and then we'll get gone here. I have this theory that
miracle.
women, because they carry the child inside of them, they've got all of this time to get close. It's literally part of them. And for guys, it takes a while, maybe a year, maybe two, when the child can start interacting with them before the attachment starts. All right, get you guys out of here.
Not my husband.
No?
He was telling fairy tales to my belly.
Seriously, from square one. Oh
Yeah,
my
in fact, when Mark said something when Max was born, he looked straight at him like, I know you. It was kind of
Really, I've heard that. I've heard stories like that, but I didn't know that was true. I've always heard
Oh,
to
yeah.
read to your child and I recognize the voice and everything. Okay. Well, one final thing. So I'm on TikTok and I'm on Instagram. There are all of these little clips that will show, like one of them had a little chicklet or whatever you call a small chicken, and it was in with a bunch of small ducks, and they all threw them in the water and they all swam over to the mother duck, except the chicken didn't realize it wasn't a duck. So it grew up thinking it was a duck. And they show video later on where this damn chicken is just, swimming around with everybody else because it was raised thinking it was a duck. You'd have to see it to believe it.
funny.
All right. Let's go here. I'm taking the headphones off. 3, 1. Your real estate 3, 2, 1. Your real estate voice with Barb Schlinker, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and the host of the program, airs every Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 o'clock on 740 KVOR. This weekend, Barb talks about how to get your home ready to sale and for sale. Dang it. 3, 2, 1. Your real estate voice. 3, 2, 1. Your real estate voice with Barb Schlinker, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, airs every Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 o'clock right here on 740 KVOR. Barb's the host of the program, and this weekend she talks about how to get your home ready for sale and get the very most out of that sale. I felt like I was short, so I added that
That was
last.
good. I like it.
Number.
That was really good. Thank you. Okay. Same show, different show next week.
Okay.
I'll try to be earlier. I apologize, DJ.
Sorry, Barb. What were you
No
saying?
worries. We got it.
We got it.
Okay. Bye,
Go
guys.
forward, prosper, and whatever else you're supposed to do with that.
Are you going with Star Trek? Is that what you're
Is that
trying
what
to
it
do?
was? I
Yeah.
thought it was a religious thing.
No.
It's Star Trek.
Go forth and prosper. Yeah, that
Yeah,
means
Richard Randall confuses Christ with Star
It
Trek.
is probably
There you
religious
go.
for some people.
Jeez. You know what I believe? Here's the good news. I believe there's a God that accounts for people being complete idiots and says, okay, gang, we know what he meant, right? Can we agree on that? Yeah, we'll cut him some slack here. All right. Hey, Barb, have a great weekend.
All right. You guys do too.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.